June 1970, a Chicago funeral home. Heavy scent of flowers. 75-year-old George Halas stands at the back in a dark suit. He paid for the casket, service, and flowers in secret. Nobody knows. The secret stays buried for decades. Mike Ditka said, Halas threw nickels around like manhole covers and fought players over meal money and plane tickets. What makes a man that cheap spend a fortune he will never take credit for? 1963. Wrigley Field locker room after a brutal double session. Steam from the showers mixes with liniment and cigar smoke. Cleats scrape the concrete as George Halas corners his own players. He refuses to budge on another contract holdout. Rising stars demand the salaries other clubs already pay. Halas answers with silence and a hard stare. Voices climb. The same scene repeats the next summer and the one after that. Athletes stop whispering and start saying it out loud. Halas is cheap. Mike Ditka drives the nail deeper, telling anyone who will listen that the old man throws nickels around like manhole covers. The line travels from Chicago to every training camp in the league. Plane tickets become another battlefield. Halas argues over coach seats and overnight layovers. Per diems shrink until grown men sit counting coins for dinner. Meal money turns into half-hour shouting matches that sports writers happily print. Season after season, the same fights leave the same paper trail. Inside that cramped room, the verdict settles like dust on the equipment trunks. George Halas is the stingiest owner in professional football. No one who shared that locker room ever claimed otherwise. 1965. Dull fluorescent lights buzz over the Bears draft table while phones jangle and ashtrays overflow. Gale Sayers is taken 4th overall. Dick Butkus goes 3rd. Down in North Carolina, Wake Forest fullback Brian Piccolo has just led the entire nation in rushing. 20 rounds pass. 280 names are called. His never is. He signs as a free agent. Veterans figure he will be cut before the first preseason game. 2 seasons later, the team hotel lobby smells of wet wool and floor wax. Keys scrape across the desk. For years, an unwritten Bears rule split rooms by race. Black players one floor, white players another. That night, the rule ends. Rooms are handed out by position instead. Fullbacks share, linebackers share. Piccolo draws a black roommate. Inside the organization, every quiet compliment goes to son-in-law Ed McCaskey. George Halas signs the change himself, then spends the rest of his life letting people believe the call was never his. The owner branded cheapest in football has just erased a color line and refused the credit. That same hidden hand will reach farther still, into medical bills no widow ever saw coming. November 16, 1969. Atlanta. Crowd noise still rolls across the field as Brian Piccolo punches into the end zone. Then his lungs lock. He cannot draw air. He waves himself out. The chest X-ray shows embryonal cell carcinoma. The tumor is so rare the doctors treat him while they teach themselves its behavior. Memorial Sloan Kettering follows. Cancer reappears in the chest wall. Surgeons perform a radical mastectomy they themselves call extremely mutilating. They take the left lung and the chest muscle. Halfway through the operation, they find more cancer they cannot cut away. The later television movie erases every raw edge. An actor keeps a full head of hair. Pain stays quiet enough for Tuesday night. Piccolo and Joy watch the doctors smile month after month. Doubt grows, yet neither feels they have the right to question the white coats. The real cost of that fight was only beginning to climb. June 16, 1970. Chicago. Rain streaks the glass of a Loop area bank, while the Bears front office stays silent after dark. George Halas sits alone with a leather checkbook most fans never knew he owned. The same owner who once argued over $5 of meal money now covers every hospital charge, from the first Atlanta X-ray to the final Sloan Kettering night. He pays the remainder of Brian Piccolo's contract in full, even though the back will never lace another cleat. Funeral costs disappear. College funds are opened for all 3 daughters before the grass settles on the grave. Weeks later, Joy faces the mortgage. The bank stamps her file credit risk, a widow with no paycheck. Halas serves on that same board. 2 quiet telephone calls. The refusal vanishes. She never learns the crisis existed. Decades afterward, Joy still repeats the same plain sentence. She never once saw a hospital bill. Somebody always handled it first. That somebody kept his name off every page. The public myth of the cheap owner and the private ledger of a man bankrolling a future he refused to advertise ran side by side until the end. Those quiet checks bought the daughters time and safety that outlasted the headlines. If this hidden side of the game moved you, subscribe for the stories the record books skip. Next, we open began the bond between Piccolo and Sayers that cancer could not touch. May 25, 1970, Manhattan. Crystal chandeliers throw hard light across a packed banquet hall as Gale Sayers steps to the microphone. He has already forced the Halas award ceremony forward from August, certain Brian Piccolo might never see another summer. The trophy that bears the owner's own name now rests in Sayers' hands, while George Halas sits 3 tables away, watching the silver go to the teammate whose every hospital charge he is quietly covering. Sayers finishes the speech. Cameras flash. Applause rolls. Halas keeps his face still, a breath from being recognized as the hidden source of the money keeping Piccolo alive. He chooses silence again. The next morning, Sayers strips the nameplate, tapes Piccolo's name over his own, and walks the trophy into the hospital room so his roommate can hold it. That same quiet style once governed the room key. When the Bears assigned the first black and white players as permanent roommates, Ed McCaskey took the public credit. Halas had approved the switch himself and never spoke a word. The gesture that changed a locker room stayed unsigned, just like the checks. The silence preserved a legend that outlived both men. If this side of the story stays with you, subscribe for the page's history left blank. Next, we follow the bond that cancer could not break. June 16, 1970, Chicago. 6 teammates, including Sayers, carry Piccolo's casket. He dies at 26, 3 weeks after. Number 41 retired. Cancer Fund and Award for Courage, Loyalty, Humor. Gap between a man's reputation and his receipts. Thank you for watching. Comment. This channel exists for stories history lets slip through the cracks. Next.